Welcome to nurtravelstudio. Today, we are going to travel one of the most beautiful Australian coastal cities called Newcastle. Newcastle is a metropolitan area and the second most populated city in the state of New South Wales, Australia. It includes the Newcastle and Lake Macquarie local government areas and is the hub of the Greater Newcastle area, which includes most parts of the local government areas of City of Newcastle, City of Lake Macquarie, City of Cessnock, City of Maitland and Port Stephens Council. Located at the mouth of the Hunter River, it is the predominant city within the Hunter region. Famous for its coal, Newcastle is the largest coal exporting harbour in the world, exporting 159.9 million tonnes of coal in 2017. Beyond the city, the Hunter region possesses large coal deposits. Geologically, the area is located in the central eastern part of the Sydney Basin. Newcastle and the lower Hunter region were traditionally occupied by the Awabakal and Worimi Aboriginal people, who called the area Malubimba. Based on Aboriginal language references documented in maps, sketches and geological descriptions, 8 landmarks have been officially dual named by the NSW Geographic Names Board with their traditional Aboriginal names. They include Nobby's Head, also known as Wibeganba, Flagstaff Hill, also known as Talbeen, Pirate Point, also known as Burrabingan, Port Hunter, also known as Your Harbour, Hunter River, South Channel, also known as Koken, Shepherd's Hill, also known as Cantarin, Ironbark Creek, also known as Toowoomba, and Hexham Swamp, also known as Burraginbiang. Newcastle, as a traditional area of heavy industry, was not immune from the effects of economic downturns that plagued New South Wales and wider Australia since the 1970s. These downturns were particularly hard-hitting for heavy industry, which was particularly prevalent in Newcastle. The early 1990s recession caused significant job losses across Australia, and the Newcastle region experienced a peak unemployment rate of 17% in February 1993, compared to 12.1% in New South Wales and 11.9% across Australia. As Australia recovered from the early 1990s recession, the economy of Newcastle did too, and the jobless rate rapidly fell. However, it consistently remained above that of New South Wales. Newcastle is on the southern bank of the Hunter River mouth. The northern side is dominated by sand dunes, swamps and multiple river channels. A green belt, protecting plant and wildlife, flanks the city from the west, Watagan Mountains, around to the north where it meets the coast just north of Stockton. Urban development is mainly restricted to the hilly southern bank. The small town of Stockton sits opposite central Newcastle, at the river mouth, and is linked by ferry. Road access between Stockton and central Newcastle is via the Stockton Bridge, a distance of 20 kilometres. Much of the city is undercut by the coal measures of the Sydney Sedimentary Basin, and what were once numerous coal mining villages located in the hills and valleys around the port have merged into a single urban area extending southwards to Lake Macquarie. Newcastle has several public parks, including King Edward Park, which was designated in 1863. Features of the park include coastal views, a sunken garden, and a Victorian rotunda. Another noteworthy park of Newcastle is Starrett Park in New Lambton, known for its playground and lush grass. Newcastle has a humid subtropical climate that is typical of the Australian east coast. Precipitation is heaviest in late autumn and early winter, while the second half of the year is slightly drier on average. The climate is generally moderated by the Pacific Ocean to the east. Summers are mostly warm and humid with periods of very dry and hot weather occasionally due to hot west to northwesterly winds, which can bring temperatures in excess of 40 degrees Celsius. The highest recorded temperature was 42.5 degrees Celsius in January 2013 at the Nobby's Head weather station. Winters are generally mild with drier conditions than summer on average. Cold fronts affect the area and sometimes bring strong westerly winds behind them, but due to the Föhn effect they generally provide clear conditions, as the region lies leeward of the Great Dividing Range. The lowest temperature ever recorded was 1.8 degrees Celsius in July 1986. East coast lows also impact Newcastle, sometimes delivering winds well above 100 kilometers per hour and torrential rainfall, usually lasting a couple of days. The East Coast low in May 1974, the June 2007 Hunter region, and Central Coast storms, and April 2015, are extreme examples of this type of weather. The metropolitan area of Newcastle is the second most populous area in New South Wales. In the 2021 Australian census, updated population figures on the Newcastle and Hunter region were provided. What is generally labelled as the Greater Newcastle area includes the LGAs of Newcastle, Lake Macquarie, Maitland, Cessnock and Port Stephens. In 2021 this region had a total population of 619,653. 83.6% of people in the Newcastle metropolitan area were born in Australia. The next most common countries of birth were England 2.3%, New Zealand 1%, China 0.7%, India 0.5% and Philippines 0.4%. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people made up 3.8% of the population. 88.2% of people spoke only English at home. Other languages spoken at home included Mandarin 0.7%, Macedonian 0.5%, Italian 0.4%, Greek 0.3% and Cantonese 0.3%. The most common responses for religion in Newcastle were no religion 31.1%, Catholic 21.7% and Anglican 19.2%. The city's main provider of tertiary education is the University of Newcastle. It was established in 1951 as a satellite campus of the University of New South Wales and obtained autonomy in 1965. The university now offers over 150 undergraduate and graduate courses to a student population of more than 38,000, including 7,000 international students from more than 113 countries. Newcastle, like all major Australian urban centres, had a tram system, but it was closed in 1950. In February 2019, trams returned to the city with the opening of the Newcastle Light Rail. Thank you for watching this video. If you love it, then please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Please leave your valuable comment in the comment box. See you in the next video. Until that, stay safe. Goodbye.